Second. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. In a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Round, round like home. Round, round like home. Round, round like home.
Yes.
Toward the camera.
We've asked you that before.
Ask it loud, very loud. Louder!
Do you think, Mr. Wells, that you might have taken unfair advantage of the public in using a method as a conveyance for authentic news?
I don't believe that I have, since it is not a method original with me.
Even though we now have the theoretical knowledge to make a trip to the moon, it will be many years yet before our plans can fully materialize.
I'd like to discuss with you a few of the more symbolic aspects of the flight of our mission Apollo 11.
So my travel reimbursement was $33.
Every radio program tries to be more dramatic than life, as every play tries to be more dramatic than life, and every movie, not less so.
Through a worldwide network of radio and television, we are bringing you an on-the-spot account of the first expedition around the moon.
My mother's maiden name was Marion Moon. I took an oath when I was the age of 17.
We are happy to report all the crew are in good condition. Ladies and gentlemen, we are interrupting our...
RM1, Station 1. We are now seeing the Earth disappear behind the moon's rim. This will be our last radio message until you see us on the other side.
Roger, RM1. Good luck.
That landing was the most complex, the most significant, the most important achievement in the space program.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House.
It doesn't take a genius, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go down and land a ladder and put your foot on a bunch of gray dust. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's symbolic. That's the most important thing.
The astronauts began their television show from the moon tonight by deploying their country's flag.
Worked out quite well, as we would have expected. One could also jump in more of a kangaroo fashion, 2 feet at a time.
And jump and do that again. So it's sort of a boop, 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 boop. There was enough time for me to get in front of the TV camera. It wasn't on the checklist. And then bounce up and down. The kangaroo hop, move forward.
Perhaps we may never know exactly how they felt as they leaped about on the desolate magnificence of the lunar landscape. But remember what we can do if we can just imagine.
By your imagination.
Boing, boing.
It doesn't seem so long ago now, but the space program is behind me now. A lot has happened since then.
The celebrity of reaching the moon with human beings before the Soviet Union did.
I'm Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin, and I'll be your personal guide along the red carpet.
The moon landing was not faked.
The moon landing happened exactly the way the whole world saw it.
Okay, I think that means you've taken the geophone photos.
Cernins. Thank you, Jules. It certainly beats a marching band. This is Frank Reynolds at ABC Space Headquarters.
Science!
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
Going to have the Space Force.
My life has certainly changed. When you're used to having most things go right, it's difficult suddenly to face anything going wrong.
Moon scoops. Moon scoops.
And you can look and see the horizon curving away because it's so clear. And you know, I shouldn't use that word. Most people talk about the Flat Earth Society.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
Well, you get in certain places where it's flat, and you can convince yourself that it's flat, but not on the moon. You can just see it kind of curving away, and you can imagine that you're on a ball.
You can look out in front of you and see the horizon moving away at a close distance. You wouldn't find very many Flat Moon Society people because you can see it curving away from you.
The general color of the terrain looking down sun was a very light tannish color. This blended as we looked more across sun to a more sharper, well-defined features and more of a gray color.
Everything is gray on the moon.
And I'm picking up several pieces of really vesicular rock out here now.
Now, we went to the moon, we came back. What do we have to show for it? We have a lot of rocks.
That's going to be a big, big smash.
How big?
Big.
Bigger than big.
Well, we're going to be thinking of all the great things that came from the space program back in those rocks.
As I'm sure you might have read in the newspapers recently, a moon rock that was on display in a Dutch museum, which you, Neil, and Mike had given to the then ambassador to the Netherlands at the time, it turned out to be a piece of petrified wood. I was wondering, at the time, when you were in possession of this, were you aware that this was petrified wood, or were you also led to believe that it was a genuine moon rock?
Petrified wood. Well, that doesn't sound like it came from the moon.
Cheese. And it's not on the moon because it's American cheese on the moon so far.
Now, who did that? We have no idea. But I'm sure the United States would not present to world leaders a piece of petrified wood claiming that it was a sample from the moon.
Hey, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. And what do we have to show for it? Rocks and other science information. That's just for geeks. If you're going to get money out of somebody, they're not going to give money to geeks. But STEAM. But the art's in there, and now you got a good education policy. But you never, it's hard to change people's subjects. Yes, that's all right. There are other more, no, they're not more important things.
So Buzz, could you show us where you guys touched down here on the surface of the moon?
There.
It was just a many-faceted moon. It was a stranger to me before the mission, but I now look back at it as somewhat of a friend.
Why hasn't anyone been back to the moon? That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen...
And the second man on the moon, the legendary Colonel Buzz Aldrin. Welcome to the White House.
And the second man on the moon, the legendary Colonel Buzz Aldrin. Second man on the moon, Buzz Aldrin.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
All of my training as an astronaut couldn't help me now. I had to reach out to someone else for help.
I will always be known as the second man on the moon.
So you're going to be remembered in history for your Apollo 11 landing, the first lunar landing. Is there anything else that you want to be remembered for, that you want a legacy for, that we're not going to teach children in school, or anything you want to have students know about you?
Well, I have a license plate, California, Florida, Mars guy, and some people may not like it, but I'd like to be Mars guy #1. Now, science! Quite frankly, forget the moon. What's the purpose of Mars 1? Well, it's a reality show, I guess. Get your ass to Mars! Does it look like something you would never afford to do? I mean, it's scary just to look at the complexity.
Yeah.
Aloha. I do my own rap music.
Oh, he's a new rapper!
Yeah,
Really?
the Rocket Experience.
What you need is the Rocket Experience.
Buzz, you're cleared for takeoff.
All you need is the Rocket Experience.
Roger, Hunter.
So, man, I think we need to tone the beat down just a little bit, because we're going to lose the message. It's too hard.
The realization of an intellect that looks at something and then realizes.
Dancing is, hey, wait a minute, I got a new tune. You know, I've heard Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
200 times. Okay?
Okay.
She blinded me with science!
Just remember one thing.
Not
It takes two to tango, you know.
I love it. That's what I like to do. Well, I've been on stage for 40 years now.
Something I thought only happened to other people was happening to me. I had become part of that 1 in 10 Americans who was mentally ill.
Don't know the reference.
No. Fear and...
Fear and panic.
Fear and danger, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
The only thing to fear is fear itself.
The universe of you? No, the world or the...
What's bigger?
I don't know.
The multiverse.
The back room.
Yes, the back room.
Yeah.
Have now step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Roger that. Now, whose fault is that?
Moon scoops!
That's what NASA says. Whatever NASA says must be right.
Well,
so
I want to wish you a lot of luck with Space Force.
now in 2024, guess where the International Space Station is going to be? Heading for the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. It only cost $100 billion of taxpayer dollars, and that was just our America's contribution.
Look, son, it's one of nature's most beautiful sights, the convoy!
He hit us!
Oh, I should have known. They're hazing us to initiate us into the truckers' fraternity. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
On bright that silent night, 90 miles out of Major Town. Hauling gold and myrrh and frankincense, 3 kings. Trainload of napalm to Springfield?
Imagine an Oppenheimer-style science center. In fact, imagine my Oppenheimer-style science center. Well, not mine, of course, and there are elements to it that are not quite like in the Exploratorium, but you know what I mean. I work there. I've had a minuscule part in developing it. It's called Spaceship Aurora, and you can find it in the north of Norway. People like science and the expertise that comes with it, no matter what they want to make you believe on TV for the sake of balance. People like to know how things actually are. Facts are cool. Simple as that. There's one thing this particular science center did differently from others while I was there. If you felt like you had exhausted the exhibitions and playgrounds, if you felt like you wanted to know even more, you were able to book guided tours or lectures with an actual scientist. Enter yours truly. I was that scientist you could meet. I loved the assignments as a rule too. But sometimes they came at the end of a very long day, and sometimes people didn't quite get the meaning of the word fact. How can you stand there and talk about all of this as if it's fact? He said. It simply isn't. Everyone can see that. I didn't make an answer while he had to take a breath. Say you are so arrogant in your know-it-all scientism globe-tard attitude towards the rest of us. You just think you're better. I'm not better, no. I do apologize for my attempt at an accent, too. However, I most certainly knew better than to do what I did. I took the bait. Know it all, I said. I know only one thing. I know nothing. Ah, so you admit not knowing that the Earth is a globe. Well, I knew it. Don't deny it now. Can I speak? Please yourself. I do know that the Earth is a globe, yes, or something quite close to a globe, to be a little bit more correct. You just said you know nothing. Don't deny it. I heard you. The conversation, if you can call it that, went on like this for a much longer time than I'd ever wanted to. And no, I will not repeat flat Earth beliefs here. That part of it all is too absurd to deserve more attention. Besides, it turned out not to be the real issue either. Some time later, I heard myself say, listen, I don't know by heart how many miles exactly the horizon is away from some given point on Earth. Why would I memorize stuff like that even? I can look it up everywhere if I want to, or calculate it for you if you're into that kind of thing. Not only do you know nothing, you're not even a scientist, he said. I remember asking myself why he would say this. I could only make sense of it in one way. Hold on right there, I said. Listen, a scientist is not somebody who recites numbers and facts. A scientist looks into nature and finds correlations, figures out what causes what, and after having answered one question, finds millions of others to explore next. He did listen, and I continued. Believe it or not, but I'm not at all interested in knowing by heart how far away exactly the horizon is. I simply don't care. I carry a cell phone in my pocket. I don't spend time remembering what I can look up. In other words, you have no idea what you're talking about. No, I mean, yes, I just won't fool myself into thinking something is true just because I like it. Besides, I do care for the beauty of it all. Nature's so wonderful. Why would I memorize numbers when I can spend my time thinking about nature's awesomeness? Humans are part of it too, you know. I mean, can you imagine how Eratosthenes must have felt when he measured the length of shadows and ended up knowing not only that the Earth is a globe, but how big that globe is? Over 2,000 years ago. Do you even begin to understand how amazing and wonderful it is to use something as common as a shadow to obtain such grand knowledge? Can't be done, and it ain't neither grand nor knowledge either. It's wrong. It means that there's an underlying sameness to it all, to literally everything. There's a story there. A true scientist tries to uncover fragments of that story. In the case of Eratosthenes, there are geometric laws which are applicable everywhere and every when. The story told by God, he said, go instead of patronizing him. That is what I've tried to do ever since, at any rate.
Round. Round like home.
Yep. Hey, Neil, what's... Yep.
So, excuse me. Well, right, so it's a branch of NASA, Columbia campus.
You have no, you would have no idea that this is a part of NASA.
We are not authorized to comment on that fact further.
Okay.
So what I've got here, could call him Chief Director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies in New York, Gavin Schmidt. Gavin, welcome to Star Talk.
To go back and see what was actually said. Your second point, which is a good one.
This is a simple debunk of a picture like this with this red water level. And it's a debunk of all claims of seeing curvature.
So,
from books to water, we have everything for the professional flat earther.
So,
freshly tossed word salad, guaranteed extra clear vowels. If you're a reactionary flat earther, you'll love our pre-prepared selection of spam. There's coarse spam, tasteless spam, crude spam, and dense spam. Just add it to any feed. And still available in the fruit section, individual cherry picking.
To check out NASA shield checks.
Are debunked. There is nobody seeing curvature. Everybody is only seeing some messed up optics, either some miraging or atmospheric masking, causing, if they believe they see things that are like the bottoms of boats disappearing over the ocean when they're standing on the beach and they see it, go out to sea and they go, oh, look, the boat's disappearing over the curvature.
Masts, but you can still see the rigging.
And this corroborates what Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
Nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. I just want to make that clear.
He says you can't see curvature. You're not high enough, even at 63 miles up. Things maybe you'll do in your life, go up, to high up and do a free fall. And she didn't find out. She didn't ask Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, by the way, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you. Do you know how high up above the Earth he was?
No.
So if you take a
63 miles.
Well, yeah, right. So take a schoolroom globe, and that's how high above it is he? So he's about 2 millimeters above the surface of a schoolroom globe. So nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. Nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, so I could end the video right here. There you go. If you're not seeing curvature from 62, 63 miles up, then you're not seeing it from the beach to 20 miles up.
It's a fabrication. It's a fabrication. It's all lies.
All you're seeing is this 360-degree circular horizon. Done. I could end it right here. It's over. Don't say anymore you see curvature or the result of curvature. All you're seeing is optics. You're seeing some poor optics that are creating illusions.
Hi Nathan, I've just been watching a pea-brain video. We've come up with an explanation for your black swan. Apparently it's all optics creating an illusion.
Oh, brilliant.
When he got up to the top, 63 miles up, no curvature can be seen. Wally Funk didn't see it. Neil deGrasse, world-renowned astrophysicist, is saying you can't see it.
Then I could see the curvature of the Earth, I could see the curvature of the Earth, I could see the curvature of the Earth,
I just want to make that clear. Nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. I just want to make that clear. Euclidean geometry. Small sections of large curved surfaces will always look flat. If you want to think the world is flat, will always look flat. Go right ahead. Will always look flat. Discovery and exploration got us out of the caves, and each generation benefits from what previous generations have learned. If I have seen farther than others, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. When you stand on the shoulders of those who came before, you might just see far enough to realize we'll always look flat. Flat will always look flat. So
all flat Earth.
Well, because people at home find this stuff useful, actually.
What people?
They look at this.
Anyone with a computer, if they have the option to watch the video, would surely watch the video. Well, if I were an automaton, then
all flat Earth.
Between words.
all flat Earth.
So does the sliding button on a video.
Social interaction.
That happens
right?
even a little faster.
All flat Earth.
And all that sort of stuff right now. And you're
but I wasn't involved in designing it.
And you must have some thoughts about neuroscience.
Overreaching at this point.
Devil's advocate position with them, and you must have some thoughts about neuroscience. And
I do.
Those are
and so all belief systems that are not evidence-based would be triggered by simply what gets triggered in your brain and what does not. And so, interesting. That's interesting. That way. It's triggered in, when I think of what's triggered in what I do is triggered in, I ask, brain is a pretty mysterious place. Okay, but so much of the world we learn about by sort of unpacking it and disassembling it. It's like, hey, look what we've learned that we didn't learn before because we didn't know how to unpack it. When all I'm doing is trying to understand the operation.
Lots of crowds
can do. Our elbows or toes. It's amazing. This, 3 pounds or whatever it weighs. What fascinates me is all the ways the brain fools us. How the brain prevents our senses from obtaining accurate information about the world around us. Doing me to no end.
Mm-hmm.
And why did it take so long for science to gain hold as a way of understanding the natural world? It must be because our brain isn't wired scientifically. Otherwise, it would have been the first way we've ever imagined to understand the world, rather than do it. Cultures. So
we just season coming up, or
so.
We have learned so much from Flat Earth believers. We have learned about our education system, freedom of speech. We thank them that they sparked a discussion on science communities about the consequences of a flat Earth, if it could even exist. So in this video, we will analyze what would happen if the Earth was flat. Before going into that, let's take a minute on how Aristotle came to the idea that the Earth is round. He wrote,
"Again, our observations of the stars make it evident not only that the Earth is circular, but also that it is a circle."
Another Greek thinker and mathematician, Eratosthenes, went further and managed to measure the Earth's circumference. He discovered that at noon in one Egyptian city, the sun was directly overhead, whereas in a different city, the sun did not rise quite so high. Eratosthenes knew the distance between the two cities, measured how high in the sky the sun rose to in each at the same time, then did some trigonometry. His method was crude, and NASA were all wrong all along. What if our flat Earth time travelers are speaking the truth? This is quite an interesting topic. Gravity fails terribly. First of all, a pancaked planet might not have any gravity. It's unclear how gravity would work or be created in such a world. That's a pretty big deal, since gravity explains a wide range of earthly and cosmic observations. The same measurable force that causes an apple to fall from a tree also causes the moon to orbit the Earth and all the planets to orbit the sun. Solar problems. Then there's the sun. In the scientifically supported model of the solar system, the Earth revolves around the sun because the latter is much more massive and has more gravity. However, the Earth doesn't fall into the sun because it's traveling in an orbit. In other words, the sun's gravity isn't acting alone. The planet is also traveling in a direction perpendicular to the star's gravitational tug. If it were possible to switch off that gravity, the Earth would shoot away in a straight line and hightail it out of the solar system. Instead, the linear momentum and the sun's gravity combine, resulting in a circular orbit around the sun. If the sun and moon just loop around one side of a flat Earth, there could presumably be a procession of days and nights. but it wouldn't explain seasons, eclipses, and many other phenomena. Magnetic field. Deep below ground, the solid core of the Earth generates the planet's magnetic field. But in a flat planet, that would have to be replaced by something else. Perhaps a flat sheet of liquid metal. That, however, would rotate in a way that creates a magnetic field. Without a magnetic field, charged particles from the sun would fry the planet. They could strip away the atmosphere, as they did after Mars lost its magnetic field, and the air and oceans would escape into space. Here are some simple experiments you can do without any tool or special knowledge. Revealed because your position has changed. Watch a sunset. Pick a nice spot from which you can watch a sunset. We'll call this point A. Ideally, you'd have to have a clear horizon in front of you, and behind you would be some sort of elevated point that you can quickly access. A hill, a building with at least 2 floors, or perhaps the aforementioned tree. We'll call this point B. Watch the sunset from point A, and once the sun is out of sight, hurry on over to point B. With the added elevation provided by point B, you should be able to see the sun above the horizon. If Earth were flat, the sun would not be visible at any elevation once it had set. Because Earth is round, the sun will come back into your line of sight. We know that all those arguments will not convince others, but at least they will spark a meaningful all flat Earth, 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 all flat.
I'm telling you, I've done a lot of these interviews, well, a few of them from space. The technology now is amazing. The picture, guys, you look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair?
I don't know. We're going to have to do something for you.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Watch this. Can everybody float around for us? That was really cool, Chris. Look at her. Look at her.
I think Sandy's hair is pretty much a dead giveaway.
It is.
Oh, there you go. There's a pose for you right there.
Outer space, these images. Outer space, these images. Outer space, these images.
Window in the belly of the space station.
Outer space, these images.
You don't seem to see the same shot over and over again because your orbit changes.
Yeah, our orbit stays fixed. It's sort of like a ball in a string.
Outer space, these images.
It was
outer space, these images.
To me.
Can you see outer space, these images? When you're in outer space, can you see like outer space, these images?
Or something like that. Depends.
Yeah, outer space, these images.
I think you say
outer space, these images.
Oh, and yeah, the Amazon also.
Would it be possible to, I mean, do we have a camera? It's 92 minutes that could give us just 92 minutes of what it looks like and what you could see from your eye?
Do your best to take pictures of it. It's just flat gorgeous to see.
But I mean, what we saw, is that anything like
the visuals?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, they're the most compelling visuals of any space movie ever made. Huge, vast expanse. The movie, if you want to get some feel of what it's like, that movie shows it the best.
Oh, wow.
Outer space, these images.
But I mean, what we saw, is that anything like
the visuals?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Thing he called a cotton gin. His name was Whitney, and they called him a crackpot, too. And they said the same thing about a man called Watney. And before that, there was a man who thought the world was round.
Hello, fellas. Everybody's here. Freddie, Tom, good to see you, Mike.
How are you, Mo?
Science is back, baby. and the earth flat. Washing your hands